Hello, welcome to the second lesson. In our first lesson, we show how to install the server simulator. I told us about what PHP is and we demonstrated some. So we created our project after the installation of the WAMP server or XAMPP, whichever one you install. From my end here, I have a WAMP server. For you to start your server, you click on the icon on the desktop or you go on into your start menu and look for the WAMP. It's either by searching or you see the icon and start your WAMP. So here I want to start my WAMP. When you click on that to start your WAMP, you take note of the taskbar here, the icon, see showing right here. So like I told you last time, it will first of all show orange, yellow, and then it will turn to green when all the servers are ready. So now moving on to our project, we open the project folder, the WAMP, www, if it is XAMPP, htdocs. Then we have our project folder, which is my app. So I will right click on this and then I will open with code to open my Visual Studio Code. Alright, so last time we talked about variable. That I said variable is a placeholder in which you can keep records to reuse within your application. So anytime you store a value into a variable, that variable becomes whatever you can reference to in your application to get the value. So variable, I said it has some rules. Number one is a variable name must start with a letter or underscore. You cannot start it with number. The second thing is variable is case sensitive. If you say first name in small letter like this, you may declare another one to be maybe you use camel curls or you use any other form. Let's say for instance I use this. These two are different from each other, so variable is case sensitive. And then from there we can now move to what is next. The next thing we are going to look at is data type. In PHP, or let me say in programming generally, we have what is called data type. That is the parameter that determine the type of value that a variable will hold. Taking for instance, if you have a bottle of Coke and you now specify that is the only Coke that can be filled into this bottle, you cannot fill it with any other thing. That is what a variable is. Or let me say, when you fill a bottle, even if it is not bottle of Coke, you fill a bottle with the content of Coke, that bottle has become a Coke bottle because of its content. If anybody wants to say, okay, bring me that thing, you say, give me the Coke. And meanwhile, when you say the Coke, the bottle is just a bottle, but the content is what is Coke. Okay? So which means the data type is the one that determines the type of data that will be inside the variable. But very good, PHP has handled some of these things for us. You don't need to explicitly specify your data type. Taking for instance, in other programming, you can say, we may say string first name is equal to John. That's what you do in some programming. But in PHP, you don't definitely need to do this. All you just need to do is that declare your variable. Whatever you pass into it is what will determine the data type. Now, what are the different types of data types that we have? Number one, we have string. String data type. String is a letter, a word, group of words that represents an entity. Taking for instance, you can say this Johnson is a string. And another thing I want you to remember is that string is always in quotes. It's either you now use single quote like this, or you use double quotes like this. Whichever one, PHP accepts either. Except that if the difference is that if you have single quotes, just like this, and what your value is also have its own quote like this, that's when problem starts. Then you may need to do what? You use double quotes, or you escape this particular one. But I prefer you use double quotes rather than escaping it. That is what a string is. So it's a letter, a word, group of words, even an empty string. For instance, I can say variable age is equal to empty string like this. So that is also a string. Even if you put a space, it is also a string, since so far it is in quote. Now, another one data type is integer. Integer is a natural number, a whole number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on like that. Taking for instance, if I say age is 25, that is an integer. You can see that I did not need to quote an integer. You don't need to quote an integer. You can use it as a number as it is. The next one we know to look at is floating numbers. Floating numbers are number with decimals. Taking for instance, if I say salary is equal to 2,500.00. So that is a floating number. Don't forget, you terminate every statement in PHP. So this is we have others like array, we have boolean. Boolean is when a variable takes the value of true or false. For instance, if I say is verified, it's a variable. You can use this variable to check if someone is verified or not. So this can take maybe true or false. That is a boolean. Alright, so now If you want to display all this, we can come up into our body. Say for instance here I echo first name, I echo age, I echo, you can say age here, echo age, I can echo salary, I can echo is verified, like that. So for us to start this, let me see through our browser. I type localhost / my app. This opens up. You can see that we are seeing one echo. That must be an error. Let us look at it. Where are we getting the echo? Yeah, we are getting this because this one is not inside PHP. We need to wrap this inside a PHP. Come right here, start our PHP, and then we come down here to the bottom and close our PHP. I think we should be fine now. Remember that PHP inside HTML, you need to, it can exist, but yet you have to go to your so we are getting those values now. All right, now we may not need this again. Passing a variable into another variable. Taking for instance, if I say variable full name is equal to variable first name, what am I doing in that case is I am passing whatever that is stored inside this first name, we store it inside where full name. So we can come up now and change this last one to full name. So here full name, so that we'll see that it is coming from our full name. So if I should come to my page now and refresh that, I get it. Full name is Johnson. Alright, so that is how we pass a variable into a variable. Now the next thing is for us to move on into operators in PHP. Operators are used to do various functions. They are functions that are used to perform some operations on variables. Taking for instance, if I have this is first name, if I come here and I say last name, is equal to James. Now my full name will now become what? If I should come here and put this and say last name, how do I combine the two together? Because this will definitely not work. This, let's see, it will definitely not work. You get error. That's it. That last name, you have to do something to make it continue after this first name so that you won't see this as an error. Then we now use what? We use dot as a concatenator. In PHP, dot is used. I know in many programming they use the sign plus, but here in PHP it is dot to concatenate things. You can see now we now have our full name to be Johnson James, but yet there's something that is missing right there, which is what the space in between the two names. So we can concatenate that as well. Remember I said an empty space is also what? A string. So I'll put quote space quote and then concatenation again. So I am concatenating first name with this space using this, and concatenate the space too with the last name, and that is what we are doing in order for us to have space in between Johnson and James, and there we have it. That is one of the reasons why you may want to concatenate things, and the reason why you may want to store a variable inside another variable for the purpose of manipulation. You want to manipulate a variable, then you store it into you store the variable and the manipulation into another variable, so that whenever you need the manipulated variable, the manipulated value, you call the variable, the new variable you assign it to. The same thing goes with, for instance, let's say we have this age to be 25. There is something I want us to demonstrate in PHP, that even if you quote this, PHP will still recognize it as number. Taking for instance, I have this one to be age 25 here. I can come down here, for instance, right here. Let me copy this rather than that one. Control C. Right here, I can say variable. Let me do the new age here. Say variable new age is equal to 13 in quotes. Okay, 13 in quotes. So here now I can come right here and say echo new age to be what? Our former age plus. Plus is used to add things, that's an addition. Plus new age. Okay, let's see what this gives us. So if I should come right here, okay, echo new age. Yes, I know what is happening. You know, here we are supposed to pass this into another variable. What I will do now is that I will leave this new age as it is. Over there, what I will do is that this will serve as age 2. Let me come here and say variable age 2 is equal to 13, that we are saying. So now new age will now be what? New age will now be the first age plus age 2, second age. Okay, now let's see what happens after this. Now we get 38. That's it. That's our new age. Right? So that's how we combine this. So we quote one, we didn't quote the other one, and PHP sees it as a number and as an integer, and then it adds it together. All right. So that is that. We now have some other data types. We have some other operators. We have used concatenator. We have assignment operator, such as this equal to. This one is assignment. Double equal is equal to. We have some others like plus equal to. Let me put a comma here for us to see that they are separate entities. Then we have minus equal to, and we have some other ones like less than, comma, greater than, comma, less or equal to, comma, greater or equal to, comma, then we have not equal to. Exclamation mark simply means not. So not equal to. We have others like modules that returns the remainder after division. We have arithmetical operators, those ones that are generally common, like the plus, the minus, the division, and then multiplication. So those are the operators that we have. So now, which means the one we have been using here is an assignment operator. We are using this to assign a value to a variable, not an equal to. Okay, so now we have come to the end of operators. You can go ahead and apply many of them. We'll be applying some that are not like this arithmetic. I know we already know all that, but these ones and these ones, we'll be assigning them, be using them as we continue with the course. Now the next thing is conditional statements. Conditional statements. Under conditional statement, we have if statement, we have nested if, and then we have if and else. We have if, nested if, that is if inside if, and then we have if and else. Right. Conditional statement is used to check if a condition, a criteria, or let me say a criterion, is true or false, or it is satisfied or not. Taking for instance, I want to check when someone supplies username and password, that is this username and password correct? That is a condition. So we check if username is equal to our stored username and password is also our stored password, then allow the person into the application. That is a condition. That is if condition. Or say for instance now, in the course of this age, I want to comment these two out. If you want to comment, you press Ctrl/ in Visual Studio Code, or you use your hand to type this / behind those variables. So I want to comment this too, and then right here too, you can take out this. I don't really need it anymore. Okay, now let's say for instance, this salary, we want to make it to be dynamic based on whatever age, whatever the value of age is. So now if I should say okay, salary is empty initially, then I can now come down here. Let me remove this, I don't need it anymore. Say okay, if this is the syntax for if, your condition goes into this, and then in the body of that if, You type whatever you want it to do right there. So now, if I should come in and say if variable age equal to, that is the main equal to, we are not assigning this time around, we are checking for a condition. So let's say if this age, or if you don't want to use equal to, I say okay, if age is lesser or equal to 15, this means this person is small to some extent. This one we cannot use a variable before we declare it, so we have to declare first and then initialize it. So now we'll say salary is that equal to what? It's equal to 15. That is, otherwise salary will be empty. That's what it means, because initially salary is empty, but we check if age is less or equal to 15, then salary is 15,000. Now if we come here and reload, our salary, we have it to be 25 formerly. It is now empty because that condition is not satisfied. It is not true. This is not true. That's it. So if we want to make it to be true now, we can say okay, this age is now, even if we say it is 5, it's still within the condition less or equal to 5. Then if you come here and reload our page, we get 15,000 because the condition is now satisfied. Now if inside if, nested if, as I mentioned, once we have if inside if, we have this one to say okay, if age is less than or equal to 15, if that condition is satisfied, then we can come again and say if, okay, if you satisfy the first condition, then if last name is not equal to, maybe you are looking for a particular person, it's not equal to James, then the salary cannot be 15, right? So this if statement, we have its own brackets. We close that here, because when the two conditions are satisfied, that is when we set the salary. Otherwise the salary will still remain empty, or maybe we can make it 0. So now let me change this one to just Jim, not James. Now rather than making it to be empty, let it be 100 initially, okay? But when the person is below 15 and then the name is not James, this condition will be true too. If you want to be looking for James exactly, use equal to that. If it is equal to James, okay? So now when we reload our page, salary is 100 because the person is not James, as we are checking here. So if I now say okay, well, the person is actually James, then if we reload our content, we get 15,000 because the two conditions are now met. Okay, that is for if inside if. Now if and else. If for instance though we set salary to be 100, rather than doing that here, we may say okay, initially if this salary even in PHP we may not even declare our salary to be anything. Let's see. So we can come here and say okay, if age is this, now that is for, we can have else if, say else if another condition again, that okay, if age is now greater than, we can't say greater than or equal to, the two will conflict with each other because 15 15 here is okay, equal to 15, or we just say greater than 15, at least anything above 15, like this. Okay, so anything above 15, we want to reset our salary to be whatever we want it to be. So now here we can say okay, anything above 15, then we set it to be 35. Now let's see what happens. If I say the age here is 25 and then we run the application, yeah, we get 35. Okay, but remember, we can do something. Say okay, well, this will not just be anything above 15. We can use some other operator which I did not mention. We have and is double ampersand, comma, or is this vertical bar, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now I said it, I will be seeing some of them as we move on, and I think this is just the ones I mixed. Don't worry, that one is not going to come after this. Now we can check two conditions or multiple conditions on a single if, rather than using nested if. For instance, this one that we are checking for two conditions, we can say okay, if age less or equal to 15 and here and last name is also equal to James here, you can have it like this rather than having this nested if. You can see now I have removed that. This is also valid. So putting multiple conditions together will enhance your code by not having to write too many codes. Rather than having if inside if, although you may decide to have if inside if and there is no limit, you can keep on having if inside if inside if inside if. But as well, you can as well use this pattern. So here we are saying okay, if it's also a last name, but here if age is greater than 15 and is like the two must be true. If we use or, once one is true, then the condition will be met. So here you say and this same age is less than or equal to, let's say you want to set it to be 45, that anybody above 45 should be collecting more. Okay, so here they are the ones that will collect 35. Then we cannot have else. Say okay, else anything above this or anything below, anything above, because we have the one that caters for below already. So you can say okay, anything else they should be getting 25 because they are no more probably active or something. Okay, then we'll be able to set our conditions. So this will be happening based on whatever the age is. So if I refresh now, let's see if there's any error. There is no error, we are fine. Then if I should go ahead and change the age to 55, let's see what happens. Change it to 55, I get 25,000. So that is that about conditional statement, right? So here is where we are going to stop for today. We continue this in another lesson. Thank you very much.